Hello to Dal Gibb. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate.
Can you tell me how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
So I've been a kind of singer-songwriter from probably about the age of 19, although I picked up the guitar when I was about 14, when Oasis burst onto the scene. But obviously, growing up, I've always had music around me. My parents are both big music fans. My dad's also a musician. He played in bands, so there was always instruments and music about the house. And as I say, I picked up the guitar when I was 14 when Oasis burst onto the scene, and they totally inspired me and became a big influence of mine. For there, it became a kind of obsession where I started kind of playing in bands. So I was about 19. We did a lot of gigs and stuff like that, just for the love of it and trying to kind of break through and get this, try and make it. But then through time, and I met my partner and having kids, that kind of side of things kind of naturally fizzed out. But I never stopped playing the guitar, and it's always been there, playing at open mics and stuff when the kids were a wee bit older. But that kind of fell away as life got in the way, and we working working stuff, etc.
So, can you tell me more about your studio that you built in your attic?
Yeah, so I built a kind of makeshift studio in my attic, with the materials I had, kind of like heavy blankets and duvet sheets and stuff like that weren't being used, and just to soundproof and get as near as studio quality as I could. And then I started kind of purchasing the stuff that I needed, like interfaces and digital audio working stations, uh, condenser mics, and I obviously had some spare cash there, so I was able to kind of utilise that and get the gear that I needed to get this stuff done. I mean, this all spanned on the back. Like, I always had a knack for writing songs when I was younger, but back then they didn't really have much direction or meaning. It was just I was just kind of trying to figure things out of how I was writing songs. It wasn't until kind of earlier this year in February when my late grandmother passed away. Something really shifted inside me. I wrote a poem about her and her life, and it turned into one of the best things I'd ever written. That moment kind of opened the floodgates for me, and suddenly I was writing constantly, and the songs just kept coming and coming. I actually couldn't stop writing. It was just something clicked, and I realised I had something special, and I needed to kind of keep going with it and keep digging.
So, can you tell me more about your debut single called "Spinning My Wheels"?
Yeah, so spinning my wheels was about my friend who kind of suffers. Was my best friend actually. He suffers from mental health problems, and I was messing about with a melody one night on the guitar, and I really liked that melody that I had, and kind of just started singing words about my pal, and they just started kind of just flowing, and I stopped and kind of pieced together all my lyrics, and then the song literally fell into place. So it came from the perspective of I wrote it as if I was him, to tell the world about what I was suffering about and what was going on inside my head. And when I finished writing it, I played it to him and I said to him, "Look, this is a song about you, and I see how you struggle with your daily battles."
So, what is the process, being a non-musician like myself, to write a song? How do you go about it?
Usually, I kind of take that step where quite a few of my idols that influenced my music. I kind of very much like Bob Dylan, where I kind of write my lyrics and then I'll put the music around them. When I was in my bands, I used to be the opposite way. I would try and write a melody and then fit lyrics in around that. It worked, but the method that I've got now seems to be a lot more meaningful, and it really hits home the message that because I'm more focused on what I'm actually singing about and trying to write a story rather than just what I felt back when I was younger. I was just literally singing words to music.
So the lyrics is the writing, and then the melody is the music. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
So does it take long for you to write a song, start to finish, and mix it and produce
Some
it?
songs, it's really weird. Like some songs, like I've got songs now that I've literally wrote in 10 minutes, and then I've got songs that take 2 days, 2 weeks, but I'll keep plugging away at them with lyrics. I'll leave them alone because I'll start to struggle, and I'll leave them alone, and then I'll go back to them because I've something's ran through my head. I thought, and I'm like, oh, that'll suit that song, and I'll go back into my wee notes app on my phone and I'll type the lyrics in so I don't forget them. And then once I'll maybe get into a flow, and I'll sit with that and write. I tend to use public transport to get about to my work and stuff, so I kind of get a lot of time there to my own where I'm able to kind of sit with my headphones on, listen to music in the background, and I'll just go into a flow of writing. Something will pop into my head, an idea, and I'll just go with it.
It must come natural to you.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes, as I say, it's a bit of a struggle where it can take up to 2 weeks, 2 hours. I mean, I can't actually put a timescale on it, but as I say, there's been a few of my songs that I could probably say about 5 or 6. Especially there's about 3 that I've recently written. I've penned that I've literally wrote themselves. It's been in 5 minutes. Music as well, and I'm like, wow, where did that come from? Do you know what I mean? It's
So, can you tell me more about song lyrics called "Pieces of My Soul"?
yeah. So Pieces of My Soul was actually weird because that was one of those songs where it was literally written in like 10 minutes. Excuse me. The song was written in 10 minutes. It was about my friend who suffers from bipolar, uh, and I kind of wrote that in the aspect of not so much as through their eyes, but more about I see what you're going through, and it's like 1 minute you could be so high as a kite, like totally high on life, and then the next is so low, like I don't want to be here anymore. And but as I say, something inside kind of keeps them going, and I just stand in admiration at the fact that somebody could be that low where they don't want to be living here, and then find something so strong inside to go, no, I'm going to fight on, and I've got support around me. And it was just a kind of message to them to say, I see what you're going through, and it must be tough, and I stand and admire those battles and struggles that you have.
So, give me a song lyrics called "She Makes Me Laugh."
Yeah, so that's about my youngest daughter who she has ADHD. Uh, and 1 minute she can have me rolling about the floor laughing, and the next she can really frustrate the life out of me. So that was another song that was kind of penned in about 10 minutes. Uh, just as soon as I started, because we were actually in the heat of an argument at the time, and she stormed away, running up the stairs to her bedroom, and I picked up a guitar to try and kind of calm myself down, and literally penned that song in about 10, 15 minutes.
So, continue sing a release called, or a latest single called "Winging It."
Yeah, winging it, as I say, was that was about basically how everybody in life just wings it, regardless of what your status in life. You could be the world's biggest rock star, top football player, a top athlete, top actor. Everybody's got their own battles, and I just feel that nobody in life really kind of knows what they're doing. There's no real sense of direction. Nobody has a plan. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Things happen in life in the snap of a finger, and nobody's prepared for it. And it's just my message to the world saying we're all winging it. We're all just winging it in life here, and we're just there's a means to an end, and we're just kind of trudging along in life. And yeah, it was just a kind of a message to say basically we're all winging it. So if you're struggling in life at this moment in time, put on winging it and have a listen to what I'm singing about, and it might give you a bit of inspiration to say, do you know what? I'm not the only one struggling here. There's other people in this world that are struggling, probably worse problems than what I've got. But everybody's struggling and just trudging along, and it's not as bad as I think.
Well, definitely give it a listen. So, are you working on any new music in the near future?
Yeah, so I've got some new kind of material that I'm working on just now, and I've got some news that I'm going to kind of release it, well, share with my fans at the turn of the year. which will be hopefully some big news for some people because I have had some of my fans on my socials kind of asking, "Oh, when's the next single coming out? When's the next single coming out?" And I'm like, I'm trying to kind of let these new singles that have just come out kind of breathe and let people catch up rather than bombarding people with stuff.
Yes, it's always good to keep the interaction with your fans.
Yeah.
So at the moment, you're just releasing singles. So is there any possibility of releasing an EP or an album in the near future?
So with my first lot of singles, it was actually meant to be an EP where I released 5 songs straight off the bat, and then I've released another 3. I think it was last week. So I'm kind of remaining a wee bit quiet just now while I kind of work on stuff that I need to work on in the background. Uh, as far as an album's concerned, I don't know. That's something that's maybe for further down in the pipeline. If I can manage to kind of stump up the cash to get into a proper studio and record an album, I don't know. I might upgrade my equipment and just go for it, hell for leather.
Yeah, might as well. Do it yourself. Saves a little bit of money for you. So what's it like being an independent artist?
Yeah, I thought it would have been a lot tougher than what it was. The biggest challenge for me being an independent artist and having my own studio was actually trying to learn how to mix the music properly and then master it. That was the biggest challenge for me, was having to basically teach myself through watching YouTube videos and different other tutorials of and then having to cross-reference my tracks against tracks that I like and listen to and genres of music that I listen to, so that I know, right, okay, I'm going in the right direction here. I've got a couple of friends who are sound engineers. I've reached out to them to see what it would be, how much it would going to cost me to get into a studio and get them to record me, and they were saying even with like friend rates, you're talking a pretty penny, and if you're going to do this, you need to stump up the cash, or the alternative route is building something of your own and try to do things on your own back and see how it sounds. So I took option B, and just because it was to try and keep the prices down. When I was going to record, I spoke at length with my dad, who's one of my biggest kind of influencers and supporters. And he said, "Well, why are we doing this?" He says, "What's your end goal?" And I says, "It literally is to get my songs out there and see if people can connect with them the way I did when I was writing them, and to kind of get that feeling." It's always been, for me, it's always been about the tunes and that connection with people who are listening to my songs. But I think with building my own studio, I think about 10, 20 years ago, the stuff that I'm doing would not be possible because of the power of the internet and streaming platforms and social media. So due to those things, it's possible for me to get my songs recorded and out there into the world to listen to.
So are you doing any gigs in the future?
At the moment, because I'm doing practically everything myself, where apart from the drums and the bass, where I'm using kind of a drum machine to do my drum lines, and I've got a friend who's kind of doing the bass lines for me. I'm doing everything myself, so for me to re-perform my songs live would be an extreme difficulty. So if I was going to be performing live anytime soon, I would have to start pulling in other friends who play instruments to kind of try and piece together a band, which would set me back a couple of months, obviously, with letting the guys kind of get up to speed with my songs and learning how to play them. So at the moment, unless it was kind of open mics or basically a stripped back acoustic set, then I have no plans at the moment for doing any live material.
So can you tell my listeners where can I find you on your social media?
Sorry?
Can you tell my listeners where can I find you on your social media?
Yeah, so I'm on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Through my 2 girls actually kind of coerced me into making a TikTok. So on Facebook and social media, it's Del Gibb Music. You will find me under that handle, and on TikTok, it's DG, my initials, Music 03.
Thank you. Let me chat to you today.
Sorry.
Thank you. Let me chat to you today.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, Ruben, and best of luck in the future.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Bye bye now.
Goodbye.